Time is 11:06. Let's get the view from Ukraine now. We've heard a lot about Ukraine from British politicians in the first hour of the show about what they think Donald Trump has or has not said about Ukraine. But we haven't heard from Ukraine. Let's do that with Kira Rudyk, leader of Ukraine's Holos party. Kira Rudyk, thanks so much for joining us this morning. Obviously, we're talking an important symbolic moment. Tomorrow, of course, the third anniversary of Russia's full-scale illegal invasion of Ukraine. Did you ever think that it would be being marked in a week when an American president suggested your country was responsible for the start of the war?
Hello, Lewis, and thank you so much for having me. No, we were not thinking that something like this could happen. And also, we honestly, 3 years ago, didn't think that we will be here 3 years after. I want to remind you that 3 years ago, not too many people were betting on us and thinking that we will last for more than a couple of days. So first and foremost, we are happy to be here, to be alive, to live in a sovereign, independent country that is fighting for its survival. And we are grateful to everyone who supported us on this path. Yes, the situation that happened recently is super painful, unfortunate, and I wish it never happened because as a Ukrainian politician, people's representative, I have to answer calls from our military who are asking what's it all about and how someone could have said that. And people who lost their loved ones at the front line or at Russian terrorist attacks are also feel this pain, and it's very hard to explain and to somehow try to make people understand. So yes, this is super painful. But the most important is what's going to happen next. And the question is, are we getting the security guarantees so Russia would not attack us again or not? Because what we heard, everyone is talking about, should Ukraine have a seat at the table? What Ukraine is ready to forfeit? Are we ready to cede our territories, or are we ready to never join NATO? But nobody is talking about the baseline for the deal is security guarantees, and what are they?
President Trump says, and he repeatedly says, that he wants peace, and who can be against peace? There are some people listening to this who will echo that view. Could you just explain in very clear terms how it is and why it is that right now so many in Ukraine fear that if the peace were adopted, what would happen next? Because it would probably be another invasion from Russia at some point, surely.
Absolutely. And I agree with that statement. So, facts. Russia has attacked us in 2014. Where they annexed Crimea and took over our eastern territories. Since that time, we have been in so-called ceasefire deal with them. And there was not a single day where they would honor this ceasefire. And there was not a policeman to come and say, look what they are doing. They are still killing us. So it led to Russia feeling really strong and powerful and feeling that West wouldn't do anything. And in 2022, they started full-scale invasion. These are, again, the facts. So right now, we do not believe, again, from what we have seen at the front line and at our homes that are being attacked by drones and missiles every single night, that if there is a ceasefire deal, first, that Russia would honor it, and second, that they would stop the producing of drone missile supplies. And that would mean that at some point, without really good understanding of how we would contradict to that at some point they will attack us again. They are working really closely with China, Iran, and North Korea. It is a military alliance. They are interchanging with their weapons and supplies and technologies. And again, nobody can guarantee that they would stop doing that if Russia will stop fighting out the front line.
And it is worth just saying, Kira, isn't it? It's just to remind people that these talks have been going on this week in Riyadh between Marco Rubio, the American Secretary of State, Sergei Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister. And during that time, it is not even as if the attacks, the drone attacks, the missile attacks and so on from Russia into Ukraine have ceased or stopped just for the duration of those talks. While those talks have been going on, Russian attacks have continued.
Absolutely, which was, basically was contradicting to Donald Trump's statement that Putin wants peace. Let us see at least something that would confirm the statement. And we have not seen any single thing. There was not additional interchange of the prisoners of war. Russia did not return children that were kidnapped from Ukraine. They did not stop attacking us. By the way, everybody is talking about Munich Security Conference, where J.D. Vance was giving a cold shower to European politicians. However, during that time, there was Russian drone attack of Chernobyl sarcophagus. How dangerous is that? Kids in Ukraine know not to go anywhere Chernobyl sarcophagus. Russia is attacking it deliberately, targeting nuclear plant that has caused already so much pain and destruction.
And Kira,
so show me the fact that Russia wants peace.
And Kira, could we just explain to people, because again, you hear this, I've seen it on social media myself in Britain the last few days, saying, well, and Nigel Farage, the leader of Reform in this country, said, well, yes, Zelensky is going to have an election at some point. Echoing what Trump had said, saying that, he hadn't had an election. Of course, in this country, we didn't have an election during the war. We didn't have a general election from 1935 all the way to 1945. But could you just explain why it would be completely impractical for your country to hold elections right now?
I wouldn't say impractical. I would say impossible.
Indeed, yes.
So, first of all, it's against our constitution that forbids the election during the martial law. Number one. Number two, the first and foremost thing is security. Sometimes we have air raid sirens going on for like 10 hours, 12 hours. How would you conduct elections when people are unsafe even to go and vote? Number three, we have around 1 million people right now serving in armed forces of Ukraine. How would these people not only participate in the elections to vote, but actually participate and exercise their right to be voted for, other than like going home, right? And this is what Russia wants for our army to disassemble. We have 6 to 8 million of people who right now are refugees and live in different countries. Basically, Polish representative once said that it would cost for Poland to hold Ukrainian elections right now as much as to hold like their own elections. So many Ukrainians are there. And with all that being said, then the question is, are we going to be able to have people elected at the temporary occupied territories? Or would these elections be de facto that we will accept that we are not controlling the territories and not allow people to vote there? So I do not see any possible way of doing that. And then the main question is why? Because Donald Trump says so? Or because why would we even do that right now? Again, that we have the legislation part that forbids that, and then we have like many practical and realistic things that wouldn't allow that. And nobody's asking those questions inside Ukraine, like, should we have elections?
No, it's the last thing on your mind.
I'm a leader of oppositional party, and I'm telling you, we should not have the elections because we need to concentrate on the war and on the front line. So this all sounds like very much what Russians would want, and this is why we would not do it.
Kira, the President Zelenskyy this week said that President Trump is living in a world of disinformation. Now, some people in the West have thought that that was unhelpful because you get into a war of words with Trump and he responds. Do you think that that was unhelpful from Zelenskyy?
Look, it's not our goal and not the goal of our country for Zelenskyy and Trump to be friends. Our goal is to find a productive way of moving forward. And of course, we hope that these relations will normalize. I understand that our president is under a lot of pressure right now, and he, the only thing that we can do right now, other than advising him, like what to say, is to say, look, you are not alone. We are standing behind you and supporting you because we know that you will stand for the best national interest of Ukraine. This is what we want from you. Please do that.
And our own Prime Minister Keir Starmer is going to Washington this week to meet President Trump. What would you like him to tell the president?
That Europe accepts they are part of responsibility for the security in European continent. That I think would soften the situation for Trump because he said it many times. And I think European leaders need to acknowledge that they understand it. And second, that Russia would always return if not pushed back. we need the real security guarantees that will work, that Russia would know that if they break the deal, this is what's going to happen. And it needs to be dangerous enough for them that they wouldn't do it.